Wrapping up our look at modifiers by avoiding double negatives. Remember that negative words aren't just those which use no, not, never, and none. These also include nobody, no one, nothing, and nowhere. Even so, most people remember those fairly freely. However, other common negative words include ones that indicate limitations, like barely, rarely, hardly, and scarcely. Also, words like neither or contractions using the N'(T) are also considered negative words. It's important to identify what those are so we don't use them together. First, find that negative word in a sentence. Because you find one doesn't mean you're done, especially if you're proofreading. Check to see whether a second negative word is used, which may cancel the first. You may have heard the expression that two negatives equal a positive. Well, that's not entirely true in grammar, though it may work in terms of mathematics. In terms of grammar, two negatives usually equal confusion. So we want to make sure we only use one to not create that confusion for our audience. Two options to make a correction are either to delete the excess or extra negative word, or consider changing it to the word any, whether it's anywhere, anyone, anything, any other. There's a lot of options of that, as opposed to simply leaving it negative. You can't never do that. Again, not a very complex example, but one that gets the point across. We have the word never, which is obvious, but we also have the N'(T). So our options are you can't ever do that, or you can never do that. Especially in a proofreading example, it's hard to know if there's one right way. Whichever works. If your teacher, for example, requires you to not use contractions in your writing, then you can never do that. It's more appropriate. The question is, which one sounds like the voice of a character that you want to use? Again, that's a writing choice personal to the author. If we had a different kind of example, like I don't want to bother no one else, we have N'(T) and we have no one. This is the other kind of correction, as opposed to the first one where we deleted one of the two negatives. This example, we leave the don't because I want to bother no one else is less clear than I don't want to bother anyone else. So we change the no one to anyone, and we're all set. Do the practice and finish up this chapter strong. I'm sure the test is coming, and do your best.